Everyone here in town knows me as Mista B, Bomb Squad DJs, and I don't know. I started off doing production first. I never planned on being a DJ. It was just kind of one of those things that it happened. I started off actually with you, and I was a production manager for a while. I was in charge of all the commercials. Adobe Audition, just kind of being the studio nerd. I was very nerdy with it. But no, it just did that. And then, I was making a lot of beats on my own time. I liked MPCs and drum samplers and, just kind of doing the producer thing. And no one in Pueblo wants to buy beats. You're trying to sell beats around here for $15 and people are like, no, not a chance. So I don't know. Eventually, I was like, oh, I want to add scratches to my beats. So, I bought my turntables and all that. And then, someone asked me to DJ a party for them, and it was like I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have the music for it. I had never DJ'd before, but I put myself in that situation, and it just kind of grew from there. Eventually, I kind of sort of figured out what I was doing, and I was still working at the radio station at the time, and I did a mix show. I was one of the guys who, I went and got a MIDI controller. 2 months later, I was DJing. And, I don't necessarily agree with those people, but I kind of evolved from that point. I got more into the battle side of mixing and beat matching and knowing what the hell I'm doing. And it was just kind of this slow transition, I went from production to kind of messing around with DJing to DJing on the radio, and then eventually just being in all the clubs, all the bars, and I got adopted by Roy Rumble, pretty much, of the Bomb Squad. He saw me kind of doing this thing, and he adopted me. He was like, "Hey, instead of doing it this way, why don't you try doing it this way?" And then I kind of became a quote unquote real DJ. We don't all start off superstars, humble beginnings. DJ Qbert was real big, as far as the scratch influence, and then just kind of scratch bastard. He blows me away with his performances. I started getting really into just a lot of the older DMC, the early 90s, late 90s, just kind of that scene, kind of those DJs influenced me. A live album, believe it or not, it was the Ozzy Osbourne album he did. It was I think it was live from Japan. I think 2001, 2002. Yeah. That was an incredibly hyped album. I do come from a hip hop background, but I also, when I was a kid, I liked a lot of the rock and a lot of the metal, and so I'm kind of well rounded on that. But that was a really hyped live album. Oh, Hendrix. Definitely, we need Hendrix up on there, opening with the Star Spangled Banner. That's just how it has to go. Um, oh man, that would be great. We'd have to have Cypress Hill up on there. Of course, we'd have to have the Wu-Tang on there. I wish ODB was still here. I would definitely love to see his performance. Um, oh man, this is another tough question here. Uh, I'd like to see Linkin Park up on there. We talked about them, very talented. Um, of course, Qbert, Jeremy Ellis. Jeremy Ellis and Qbert actually toured a while back, and unfortunately, I did miss the show, but I could only imagine how great that was. Um, I'd like to see Mr. Green, the producer. He's real dope. Maybe Jedi Mind Tricks. Stoop, Enemy of Mankind, he was real dope before he kind of got out of the hip hop game. Um, Maybe Group Home, if Proof was still around. Uh, Tribe Called Quest. Definitely some Pete Rock, some CL Smooth. Um, and then Damu the Fudge Monk. Yeah, I kind of have some interesting, widespread music taste. Um, I ignore them. You know, uh, I'll play a request. I have no problem with requests, but you ain't gonna mess up the vibe. You ain't messing up the dance floor. I might play a remix of it. I might play what I'm gonna do, but I'm not a jukebox. And there comes that whole argument: are you the creative DJ? Are you the playlist DJ? Are you the guy who takes requests and caters to everyone? And really, I think it's important to be all of them, because I think you still have to be in touch with what people want, but at the same time, you have to expose them. You have to do your job. You have to go beyond being the jukebox. Yeah. I believe a lot in remixes and mashups, um, just adding flavor in there. It was interesting. It was definitely a weird lineup. You know, we had kind of some older acts, but then we had Kurt Cobain's, who very hot at the time, and it was an interesting vibe. And I went down and I wasn't gonna like just play the hits that they wanted. You know, I was throwing an old school hip hop set that I wanted to play. You know, they were there to listen to me, just how it was working out that time, and everyone was they were surprisingly into it. You know, I was kind of doing some of the wiki and just kind of playing around with a couple simple beat juggles and doubling up, and they were really into it. I think nowadays, a lot of the college crowd, especially, you hear DJing and you associate it with the EDM scene. You associate it that I need to be up there throwing cakes to be a DJ, or that I need to be doing some shenanigans to be a DJ. But it was cool to actually see people into, hey, this DJ's doing something up there with all those buttons and knobs. When I went backstage and I got props from the artist, you know, that's kind of like, that was the reinforcement right there. When, you know, the touring DJs who were with, you know, the other artists, they're like, hey, you were dope out there. You know, that was kind of one of those like, oh, it's okay to do my thing. You know, I don't have to just play what's hot right now or play the hits or, you know, do that for y'all. I can do my thing.